November 2nd, 1983. A little girl was playing with her dolls in her playroom that was next to the kitchen. She was sitting calmly by the window as the sky was slowly becoming dark and the clouds covered every bit of sunlight that was shining through the sky. It was a gloomy Wednesday afternoon, and the light rain drizzled through the neighborhood, leaving a wet and humid smell in the air. The light fog covered the tallest trees in the creepy forest that happened to be in front of the little girl's window. This innocent child was playing with her favorite doll, which happened to be a mermaid, when she was distracted by a tall, pale, womanly figure that was crouched behind a pathetic tree that barely hid her silhouette. She didn't really get a good glimpse at the woman's face, but she saw that she was wearing something that seemed to be a hospital gown. Her hair was as dark as the midnight sky. You could see from the look in her eyes that her soul was empty and filled with sadness. The little girl was frightened at first, because the paleness of her skin made her appear as a ghost. Although she later took interest into this situation, she ran to the kitchen to tell her parents what she had seen.
Mommy, I saw a lady in the forest. Can I go see her?" asked the little girl. "What?" answered the two parents simultaneously in a frightful tone. They went through a roller coaster of emotions, feeling them all one by one in the span of 2 seconds. The look on their faces expressed true terror. The fear that reigned in their eyes was indisputable. It was like someone had told them the world was ending. After hearing what she had told them, they immediately warned their daughter that she was forbidden to leave the house under any circumstances without them. This obviously vexed the little girl because she clearly wanted to know more about this mysterious lady that she saw in the woods. Full of rage, she stormed out of the kitchen and went up to her room without dinner. She slammed the door behind her. Her parents continued to speak about the situation in the kitchen. Curious, she slithered out of her room to the bottom of the staircase to listen to them, whispering about something they had seen on the news. They had been discussing for quite a while now. They were talking about how a deranged woman had escaped from the insane asylum near their house a couple days prior. The establishment in question was in fact located right down the street from their home. The image of the woman they saw on the television was still printed into their brains. A petrifying darkness was painted on her face the day she took that photo. They were anxious about the situation because there had been a lot of kidnappings in the area over the span of a few days. The suspect was still roaming through the streets, awaiting its next victim. At that moment exactly, the window where the little girl first saw the woman suddenly flew open. A light, cold breeze invaded the warm temperature of the room, leaving an uneasy feeling in the air. Scared and concerned, the parents went to close the window. For a moment, they thought their eyes had deceived them when they noticed a quick shadow move in the forest from one tree to another. They didn't want to give it too much thought because it was really late and they were exhausted. The little girl heard her parents' footsteps approaching the bottom of the staircase, so she scurried up the stairs, went to her room, leaped onto her bed, and pretended to be asleep because she knew her parents were going to check up on her. Her parents cracked open the door and, to them, she looked sound asleep. Little did they know, she was going to sneak out that night to investigate what she had seen that afternoon. The girl knew if her parents had caught her, she would have gotten in big trouble. She thought about it twice before leaving her bed that night, but her curiosity got the best of her.
The morning after, her parents woke up feeling an absent presence in her home. They went into their daughter's room to check if she had obeyed them, and to their utter disbelief, she was gone. Hastily, they searched the entire house, but she was out of sight. They rushed out of the house to go look for her, and what they saw on the doorstep left them speechless. They were traumatized by the sight of the object laying face down on the concrete surface. They were in complete shock. Both of them were making terrifying scenarios in their heads that led them to believe the worst had happened to their daughter. The mother bent down to pick up the doll that was screaming for help. The ripped-up mermaid was laying on the doorstep, and when she finally gathered up the courage to turn it over, she saw its horrifying face that had scratches all over it. The doll was completely falling apart to a point where its stuffing was everywhere. Before they even had the ability to do anything else, a light cunning giggle invaded their ears. They thought it was their daughter's voice at first, but the voice got deeper and deeper and...
I'm begging you. Can you help me? I'm alone and scared. I lost my mommy. Can you help me?
That sound will haunt their spirits forever.